Thank you for taking the time to find out more about E for endometriosis. Today, I will be sharing a little more about E for endometriosis, the work that we do, and why this movement exists. I will also walk you through the support resources available through E for endometriosis for patients, caregivers, and the wider community, as well as how you can be part of the change. Our slogan is paving the way, not just in raising awareness, but in creating space where there previously was very little. E for endometriosis is the first ACRA-registered, patient-led, endometriosis-focused ground-up movement in Singapore. When we began, there was no other organization here dedicated to this cause in the same way. So when we say paving the way, it reflects our hope to pave the way for better understanding, better conversation, stronger support, and a more compassionate community for those living with endometriosis. E for endometriosis is formally registered with ACRA under a sole proprietorship structure. While we are not yet a registered charity or IPC, our work has always been volunteer-led, community-driven, and non-profit in nature. When E for endometriosis first began, our priority was to respond to an urgent gap in awareness, support, and advocacy for people living with endometriosis in Singapore. Rather than waiting until we had the resources and formal structure required for charity registration, we chose to start where we could, build real impact on the ground, and support patients and caregivers immediately. Since 2012, our work has continued to focus on patient support, public education, awareness, advocacy, and community building. As we grow, we recognize the importance of strengthening our governance, documentation, financial accountability, and organizational structure. We are currently exploring the necessary steps towards a more formal non-profit structure, including guidance and support from relevant agencies and sector partners, such as National Volunteer and Philanthropy Centre, NVPC for short. Our long-term hope is to grow E for endometriosis into a full-fledged registered charity and eventually work towards IPC status when we are able to meet the required governance, board independence, compliance, and community benefit requirements. For now, we remain committed to operating with transparency, responsibility, and integrity while continuing to serve the endometriosis community with the resources we have. But before E for endometriosis became a movement, before the structure, the registration, and the conversations about governance and growth, it began as a need. It began with my own need to make sense of what I had gone through. After years of being dismissed, misunderstood, and made to feel like my pain was something I simply had to endure, I needed a way to reclaim my voice. Blogging became my way of processing, grounding myself, and reminding myself that my experience mattered. Over time, others started reaching out. They shared their stories, their fears, their confusion, and their relief at finally feeling seen. That was when I realized this was never just my journey. There were many others carrying similar pain in silence. And that is how E for endometriosis slowly grew from a personal blog into a patient-led ground-up movement. Today, we exist to bridge the gaps that I once fell through. We focus on awareness, education, advocacy, patient support, and community building. But at the heart of it, this work has always remained deeply human. It is about creating spaces where people are believed, where pain is not minimized, where conversations about endometriosis can be honest, nuanced, and compassionate. And most importantly, it is about dignity, informed choices, and reminding every person living with endometriosis that they are not alone in this. So what does E for endometriosis offer? When we think about our work, we do not see it as one single program or one single platform. We see it as an ecosystem designed for education, advocacy, and peer support. Each part of the ecosystem serves a different purpose, but they are all connected. The digital classroom represents our free quarterly expert Zoom sessions. These sessions allow the community to learn directly from healthcare professionals, researchers, and subject matter experts in a safe and accessible way. The library represents our YouTube recordings, website resources, and educational materials. This is important because learning should not end after one session. People should be able to return to the information when they need it at their own pace. The public square represents our exhibitions, school talks, collaborations, awareness booths, and our annual Wear Yellow SG Endo March. These are the spaces where we bring endometriosis awareness beyond the patient community and into the wider public. And lastly, the living room represents the Singapore Endometriosis Support Group on Facebook. This is our peer support space where people affected by endometriosis can ask questions, share experiences, and feel less alone. Together, these spaces allow us to support the community more holistically. Some people come to us because they need information. Some come because they need emotional support. Some want to advocate, volunteer, or help create change. So this ecosystem is intentionally built to meet people where they are learning, seeking support, sharing their story, or finding their way forward. I will explain each of these components in more detail in a bit. Every quarter, we host a free online educational session featuring medical professionals, allied health experts, and individuals with lived experience. These sessions are designed to equip the public with clear, updated, and evidence-based knowledge so that you can make informed and confident decisions for yourself or someone you care about. What you're looking at were free quarterly Zoom talks that were hosted in 2025, typically around 4 to 6 sessions a year, depending on our capacity, as everything is currently run on a voluntary basis. We firmly believe that knowledge is power. Since in Singapore, there is still no endometriosis-specific holistic care framework, comprehensive local statistics, or dedicated policies, coupled with the many misconceptions surrounding the condition, our hope has always been that by liberating patients through knowledge, we can equip them with the tools to protect themselves and make informed decisions about their own care. The free Zoom sessions were also streamed on our E4Endometriosis YouTube channel. Uploading these sessions to our YouTube channel allows patients to revisit the information whenever they need to. We recognize the realities of living with endometriosis, including symptoms such as brain fog and chronic fatigue, which can surface unpredictably. Making these videos accessible enables patients to engage with the content at their own pace and to share it with others, helping to extend awareness with their own circles. Besides YouTube recordings, we also maintain written resources on our website. We blog about areas that often require more clarity, such as the difference between endometriosis and cysts, fibroids, adenomyosis, and other related conditions. We also shared practical content, such as doctor recommendations in Singapore, as well as preparation and recovery tips for surgery. All of these can be found under the Resources tab on our website. Knowledge needs repetition. People forget, people learn at different paces. And sometimes, life simply demands that we come back to information when we are ready. By keeping these resources accessible, patients and caregivers can engage with the content at their own pace, revisit it when needed, and share it with others. This helps extend awareness beyond one person into their families, friendships, workplaces, and wider circles. Next, we also take part in exhibitions and collaborations. This is an important part of our work because awareness cannot stay only online. Sometimes we need to bring the conversation directly into community spaces, schools, events, and public platforms. For example, we supported Action for Her, a collaboration with BAP Women's Wing, where E for Endometriosis was present with a booth to share resources and raise awareness about endometriosis. We have also collaborated with schools and student groups, including platforms connected to NUS and NTU, where we engage young people, future healthcare professionals, and the wider community in conversation about endometriosis. These collaborations help us reach people who may not actively search for endometriosis information on their own, but may still benefit from understanding it. It also allows us to build bridges with different organizations so awareness can continue beyond E for endometriosis alone. And of course, our biggest physical platform is our annual Wear Yellow SG Endo March. Now, this event brings together patients, caregivers, healthcare professionals, and allies during Endometriosis Awareness Month, which falls in March every year. While E for Endometriosis has been carrying out awareness and advocacy work since 2012, Wear Yellow SG Endo March was created in 2023 to give Singapore an annual endometriosis awareness event that the community could call its own. When we first started this event in 2023, we had fewer than 40 attendees. In 2026, we had 85 attendees. For us, this growth is not just about numbers. It shows that more people are choosing to show up, listen, understand, and stand together. You may ask, why yellow? Yellow is the international color of endometriosis awareness, and by wearing yellow, we can make an invisible condition more visible. It becomes a simple but powerful way for patients, caregivers, and allies to show solidarity with the community. Lastly, we have the Singapore Endometriosis Support Group on Facebook. The resources I have shared earlier, including what E for endometriosis is, what we offer, and how others can be part of this change, are also featured in the group page circled in green and also on our website. Our intention is to keep things as simple and accessible as possible for those navigating E for endometriosis, because sometimes the first form of support is simply knowing where to begin. For many people, endometriosis can feel very isolating. Sometimes they may not know anyone personally who truly understands what they are going through, especially when their pain, symptoms, or struggles have been dismissed or misunderstood. This is why the Singapore Endometriosis Support Group was created. It is a safe community space where patients and caregivers can share openly, ask questions, learn from one another, and receive support without judgment. It is not meant to replace medical advice, but to offer a space where lived experiences can help someone feel less alone and more supported as they navigate their own journey. So this group becomes a place where people can breathe a little easier, find their starting point, access shared resources, and feel understood by a community that knows how heavy this condition can be. So how can you be part of the change? Firstly, you can come forward as a volunteer. E for endometriosis is fully volunteer run with no paid staff, so every pair of hands and every willing heart truly makes a difference. You can also support us through donations. We are largely self-funded with occasional sponsorships and community contributions. These funds help us continue creating awareness, organizing events, and keeping our resources accessible to the public. Another way to help is simply by holding space for others. Sometimes, support is not about having the perfect answer. It is about listening, believing someone's pain, and allowing them to feel less alone in their journey. You may contribute your insights to the Facebook group page. If you are keen to volunteer with E for endometriosis, one of the roles we often need support with is as an MC, moderator, or backup MC for our quarterly Zoom sessions. The format of our quarterly Zoom sessions is usually simple and structured. We will usually have 1 to 2 speakers, with each speaker sharing for about 30 minutes, followed by a 15 to 20-minute Q&A segment. For the moderator role, a full script will be provided. We will also be using a Q&A platform, so the moderator's main role is to read the questions on screen, guide the flow of the session, and help create a respectful and engaging space for everyone attending. It is not a heavy role, but it is an important one. A calm and steady moderator helps the session feel smooth, welcoming, and organized for both the speakers and the community. We also usually have a backup MC. This person will step in only if the main moderator is unwell or unable to host the session. If the main moderator is present, the backup MC can support in the chat instead, such as reminding participants to mute themselves, sharing simple prompts, or helping with basic housekeeping. These prompts will also be provided, so you will not be expected to come up with anything on your own. As we all learn at different paces, you will also request a Zoom rehearsal before the actual session. I will gladly schedule one with you so you can feel more prepared and comfortable. Volunteers may also refer to our previous quarterly Zoom sessions on the E for Endometriosis YouTube channel to get a better sense of how the sessions usually flow. So, if you feel comfortable speaking, reading from a script, and holding space for the community, we would really love to have you support us as a moderator or backup MC for one of our upcoming sessions. We also welcome volunteers who are keen to support our physical events and community engagements. Over the years, our physical events have required different types of volunteer support. This includes volunteers who are comfortable sharing their personal endometriosis stories with students in schools, volunteers helping to man endometriosis awareness booths, and volunteers supporting larger events such as Wear Yellow SG Endo March. Depending on the event, roles may include registration, ushering, hosting, supporting speakers and guests, assisting with AV, keeping time, helping with booth engagement, managing refreshments, and supporting the overall event flow. Some roles are more public-facing, while others are more behind the scenes. So whether you are comfortable speaking, engaging with people at a booth, or quietly helping with logistics, there is still a meaningful way to contribute. At the heart of it, physical events allow us to bring endometriosis awareness beyond online spaces and into the wider community. To make volunteer coordination easier, we have an E for Endometriosis WhatsApp group. These groups serves as our first point of call whenever we need volunteer support, whether it is for our quarterly Zoom sessions, physical events, community engagements, or other upcoming initiatives. When an opportunity comes up, we will share the details in the group, including the date, time, location, available roles, and expected commitment. You can then decide if you are available and comfortable to support. There is no hidden cost or fee to become a volunteer. There is also no contract, and you are not expected to say yes to every opportunity. As many of us are patients, caregivers, or individuals with our own life commitments, we understand that plans may change, sometimes even at the last minute. We only ask that once you have committed to a role, you keep communication open if anything changes. This allows us to activate backup support, make adjustments, and keep the session or event running smoothly. If more volunteers are still needed after reaching out to the WhatsApp group, we may then extend the call for support to our wider community group and social media platforms. So if you would like to be notified of future volunteer opportunities, please let us know and we will be happy to add you to the WhatsApp group. Lastly, you can help us spread the e-sign. The e-sign represents three important ideas that shape the spirit of this movement: empowerment, embracing change, and encouraging conversations. Use it in your photos or videos, start conversations, and help bring endometriosis out of the shadows. You can also tag us at E for endometriosis and E for endo so we can continue amplifying awareness together. And with that, we have come to the end of the orientation. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about E for endometriosis, the work that we do, and the community we serve. I hope this orientation has given you a clearer understanding of the organization, the gaps that patients often face, and how E for endometriosis supports the community through education, resources, awareness, peer support, collaborations, and events. More importantly, I hope it helps equip you with the knowledge and confidence to be a more informed volunteer, whether you are answering questions from the general public, supporting a Zoom session, helping at a booth, sharing resources, or simply holding space for someone who needs to feel heard. Please feel free to follow, like, and share our platforms and help us continue bringing endometriosis awareness into more spaces. Change does not always have to begin in a big way. Sometimes it begins with one person choosing to listen, one person choosing to believe, one person choosing to share, and one person choosing to stand with someone who feels alone. Thank you for choosing to be part of this work and for helping us pave the way for better understanding, support, and care for the endometriosis community. Thank you once again for your time, your openness, and your support. We truly appreciate it.